For us, lower alumina cost has aided the performance this time around, and the stock's not doing too much. Actually, it's just about flattish. I think more or less the numbers were factored in. Remember, Novelis is a bigger factor for Hindalco than the domestic operations. But let's shift focus to the markets now. 12,200 has been maintained as of now. 100-point gain seen for Nifty. Nifty Bank firmly trading around the 50 DMA. What sort of trades then you should take at current levels? Let's go across to our techies. Manav Chopra of India Bulls Ventures joins us on the show, and we've also got Ruchit Jain of Angel Broking. Good afternoon to both of you gentlemen, and thanks a lot for joining us. Manav, are you taking any fresh bets at current levels?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we have seen the volatility in the markets go down drastically. In fact, yesterday also we haven't seen any good trending action post the markets opened yesterday. There was more or less a range-bound trading action today. The only positive thing that I'm seeing is that the markets are trying to hold above 12,200 levels, and if we manage to close above this, I sense there would be some sort of short covering that could come into the play in last half an hour, and tomorrow being an expiry, since there was strong call writers that was witnessed at 12,200 and 300 strike, that would come for unwinding. So this is one positive thing that the markets would end and is likely to be witnessed in last half an hour. Specifically for the Bank Nifty, yes, Bank Nifty is also showing that breakout levels. It's nearing to its important levels of 31,550. So once if we close above that, I sense both the Nifty and the Bank Nifty would see a strong trending action coming in the next couple of trading sessions. So in all, it is going to be more or less a stock specific trading move, but I expect Bank Nifty to see some sort of a good momentum rally towards 31,800 to 32,000 levels.
Okay. Ruchit, Jen is also here with us. Ruchit, what's the call on the index now? It seems like the last 2 days there is much more activity again in those heavy weighted stocks, which led to the index crossing record highs in the first place. Do you see that they're capable enough to take the Nifty higher?
Yes, I believe that markets are likely to continue this momentum, primarily because if we see after that V-shaped recovery during last week, on Monday session we had seen some dip, but again that dip was bought into around the support of 12,000 levels. Also, if we look at some of the options data, then 12,200 put now has very good amount of open interest, which indicates that this has now become a very strong support. And on the higher side, 12,270 to 12,300 is where the concentration is there. So I think we would see this higher end of the range getting tested maybe in a day or two. So 12,270 to 12,300 is the range where I think the markets would, where the Nifty would head in maybe next 1 or 2 trading sessions.
Okay. Mayuresh Joshi of William O'Neill India is joining us on the show as well, and we'll get to him in just a bit. Mayuresh, just stay on. We just want to quickly go ahead and take those stock ideas from our technical traders before we come back to you. Ruchit, your stock ideas for the afternoon.
And my first pick was a buy call in Metropolis. I intended to give this around 1780, but in last 5 minutes the stock has rallied from 1780 to 1830, 1840 now. If we get any dip again in the range of 1780 to 1800 range, use that dip as a buying opportunity with stop below 1700 for target of 1920. Primarily the stock has given a breakout from a bullish flag pattern with very good volumes today. Second pick is a buy call in options, which is in Larsen and Toubro. If you look at the sum of the historical data, then 1270, 1260 is the range where the stock has managed to find good support in the recent past as well. Now, after the budget, the stock has already corrected from its recent highs, and now even if you look at options data, then 1300 put option has good amount of open interest built up. So the stock is trading around its support. In spite the stock going below 1300, we are not witnessing any kind of unwinding in that 1300 put. So we are advising to go long on 1300 call now, which is trading around 26 rupees, expecting a pullback move from the support. One can buy with stop below 7 rupees for targets around 55 before expiry.
And Manav, your stock ideas?
Yes, my first buy call is on Castrol Industries. In fact, since quite some time the stock has been in a downtrend since 2015. If we see the charts, it was in a broader lower tops, lower bottom formations, and I sense now after a good medium-term downtrend, we have seen the first signal of a reversal in the month of Jan, whereby the stock has formed a very strong higher bottom at the levels of 140, 145. There has been a breakout witnessed at least on the weekly charts, which confirms that the short-term bottom is in place and eventually we are likely to move higher. The moving averages and the price with the volume is confirming that for a fresh momentum to be seen into the stock even at the current zone. So it's a buy on dips approach. We recommend a buy with a stop loss of 146 for an upside target of 165. My second buy call is on Birla Corporation. In fact, from the stock, after a good 1 year of consolidation, has seen a breakout, and post that there has been a sideways consolidation, and the prices are currently consolidating its gains by forming a higher bottom. It has a very strong support on the lower side at 740 on the low, and looking at the current formation, I expect a bigger trend to emerge from the current levels. Recommend a buy into this with a stop loss of 720 for an upside target of 810.
Okay, those are some stock ideas coming in from our technical analyst. I just want to pull up the city gas distribution companies, pull up MGL as well as IGL. Both of them, I believe, right now are sitting at their day's high. IGL is at 2.5% and MGL is sitting at 1227. As you can see in the last half an hour or so, I think there is some buying momentum which is kicked in. The stock's up about 4.5%. All right, Mayuresh Joshi is with us. Hi, Mayuresh. Good afternoon. Let me begin with the city distribution companies itself, which have been outperforming in the last 1 year. We've seen the earnings coming by from all of them. Are you bullish on this space? Because we've also got a lot of brokerage notes, Mayuresh, in the last 1 or 2 months stating that the gas demand in India in the next 10 years or something will double. On account of that, are you bullish on any of these companies?
We've remained extremely optimistic, Navneet, on all these companies. And as we mentioned time and again over the past so many months, I think the clean energy perspective that the government is trying to put forth, both in terms of the infrastructure investments, whether it's more gas pipelines, which have got announced in the budget from 16,000 kilometers to 27,000 kilometers. I think everything is being set up to probably take up the gas consumption, which is almost 6% at this point of time, to almost 15%. That's the intent that the government has at this point of time. Having said that, and the kind of volume growth city gas distribution companies have exhibited through their numbers, I think it's a phenomenal effect. The third element, obviously, is the new city gas geographical locations that come up, and all these guys are respectively listed in better geographical areas. And as they start bidding out, and as volumes start coming out, both from the PNG part as well as the CNG part as well, I think it's incremental volumes along with realization growth adds on to the EBITDA per reported FCM, which is obviously going to be better going forward as well. The fourth element is in terms of the costing or the input pricing related to natural gas. And though we've got 4 different hubs that we probably track in terms of the blended gas price at the end of it, the entire sense is natural gas prices inch a bit higher. I think the pass-through that these companies have as the leeway is extremely critical from the operating and the bottom line growth as well. As far as methodology goes, I think all these factors put, I think the Cansley methodology perfectly fits city gas distribution companies. I think the earnings growth has accelerated and should remain on a very high note. What they've got in terms of institutional holding remains extremely, extremely strong. And the leadership position of this entire group and the ranking itself, the quadrants they're placed in, look very, very positive as well. So yeah, I think as a space, I've always liked that. I like to view in this space. So I think investors are better off holding these stocks, as our methodology suggests that I think earnings momentum will probably continue for the foreseeable future.
All right. I think we'll try and patch that line with Mayuresh. It's slightly patchy, but we'll try and get that fixed. In the meantime, let's also take a look at one more stock. That's Honeywell Automation. And this stock has gone from just strength to strength. So a low free float stock. The stock has moved up with regards to the last 1 year's movement. 78%. This year itself, the stocks went up 40%. Since December 2010, the stocks went up 16 times. Obviously, the growth trajectory has been strong. If you take a look at Honeywell Automation's revenue and profit growth figures, just from Q1 of 2018 up until Q3 of 2020, you can actually see the growth graph of the revenue, which started about 656 and now to about 900 odd crores is what they've clocked it in terms of their overall revenues. Profits have grown from 55 odd crores in Q1 of 2018 to about 145 crores in the last quarter reported. So good going. You've got strong return ratios as well. Return on assets has been 13.5%. Return on equity is 22.7%. Return on capital has been 22.8%. So on all those parameters also really working well compared to some of its other peers. But you know, also the fact that you've seen the price move so heavily up, Manav, is there any scope for a further increment in the stock price? Honeywell Automation.
In fact, already the prices have seen a very strong rally, and I sense, you know, most of the oscillators are already in the overbought conditions, and in such a scenario, looking at the current data, there is a chance for a short-term profit booking. I don't see any fresh risk reward maybe for entry even at the current zone, given a chance if there is a correction of another 10 odd percentage, then where there could be some risk reward entry. But on the medium term perspective, 34,000 could be an important support levels, and that could be the zone whereby if there is a correction, one should look to enter at the over levels. The overall trend still remains bullish, but I would want to avoid it for a short term basis.
Okay, that's Honeywell Automation for you, and a couple of other stocks as well which are moving. Remember, Siemens has been reacting to the numbers today, and we have seen some significant short positions coming on the future side. No major recovery coming by. JP Morgan, in fact, has cut down their EPS by almost 6%. But let's talk about certain small cap companies as well. I want to pull up the stock of Neogen Chemicals. Let's see what that's doing. It's been on a roll, at least since the time, I'll say, it has been listed.
20 days average in terms of the overall volumes. Then you've got Parag Milk Foods. Yesterday saw a dip of 16%. You know, fell 16% by the end of it. And today, while it started on a weaker note, it's up about 5.5% right now. So that's 105 on Parag Milk Foods. And then you've got an Ipca Laboratories, which is up 6% today. In the last 7 days, the stock's been up about 10 odd percent, including obviously today's big move that's coming. Do you track Shilpa Medicare, Manav? The stock's been up 55% in the last 7 days.
Yes, in fact, if you see the chart on a long-term basis for Shilpa Medicare, you know, it was in a structured downtrend, and there has been a very sharp change in trend reversal, and post that series of up move. I believe how many people would have actually caught such kind of a move. It was a total surprise, and it's very difficult to gauge such kind of a momentum coming in stocks. At the current levels, definitely it would be very risky to get fresh trades growing. Yes, there has been a reversal, but the point would be to see in this stock whether such reversals actually hold on, and eventually how much more upside can we see. But the other stock, if I want to look in, would definitely, like you highlighted, was Ipca Laboratories. I think this is one stock which has been on a structural uptrend. The overall structure looks quite well placed, and it's quite established. So any dips into the stock should actually be looked for buying opportunity. In fact, today the stock has also witnessed a fresh breakout on its daily and the weekly charts, and is currently trading above its previous swing high. So I would recommend going long in Ipca Laboratories even for a trading opportunity. One can place a stop loss below 1280 on the lower side, and eventually trail this for an upside. For a medium term perspective, we can expect targets of close to 1380, and for long term, even 1425 is on cards.
Okay, 1425 for long term. That's the target Manav is putting on Ipca Labs, and he's also suggesting one can look to buy the stock at current levels. All right, let's find out which are the other stocks which are buzzing, or rather, which are those 4 stocks which feature in Sharad Dubey's Fab4 list today. Let's go across to him. Hi, Sharad, the dealing room check. Just want to pull up a couple of more stocks which are moving around right now. And Godrej Consumer, that's rallied about nearly 4 to 4.5%. Remember, this has been a laggard within the FMCG space. There is maybe some buying interest coming in at lower levels. Now, 645 is where it's trading. Pull up the futures as well. Let's check if there are any long positions being taken, or this is just a short covering bounce that we're seeing on Godrej Consumer. In the meanwhile, Ruchit, at current levels of 645, open interest is showing some bit of build up of about 10%. Would you take a bet on Godrej?
Not really. The stock has been an underperformer in the recent past, so I believe that this is just a pullback move. It could extend towards 660, 662, where the 200-day moving average is placed. But no, frankly, after 4.5% positive today, the risk-reward ratio is not that favorable to take a long positions for target of 660. Any existing positions can be held for targets of 660, but not recommended to buy fresh over here.
Okay, and the other stock where there's a lot of shorting which has come by today, and that's Siemens. If you could just pull up the futures plate of that as well. We highlighted the stock. It's been trading below its 50 and 100-day moving average, and there is no recovery which has come in from lower levels. It's still sitting with cuts of nearly 5%, 18% build-up for the February futures. Manav, where do you think if somebody shorted the stock of Siemens, should they cover their profits?
See, on the lower side, the stock is likely to test the levels of 1350 and 1360, which coincides with its long-term averages. And looking at the breakdown today, I sense the prices would also breach its recent swing low of 1400. So if 1400 is breached on the lower side, we could see another downside of 4 to 5%. So overall, stock looks weak. One can expect lower targets of 1350.
Okay, 1350 on the downside is something Manav will be watching out on Siemens. By the way, HPCL is down about 2.5%. You are seeing some cuts coming in for L&T Finance Holdings as well, which was quite active in yesterday's trade. HPCL is almost a day's low with cuts of 2.5%. L&T Finance Holdings also down. I want to pull up GAIL. Remember, that was yesterday's top gainer, and Nifty it gained about 6%. At least till morning it was down. There's been a recovery for GAIL as well from the lower levels. Yogesh, I'm not too sure if you've been tracking the numbers, but suddenly the stock moved quite sharply in yesterday's session. Petchem business remains weak, but what did you make of the numbers for GAIL? Do you see any sort of bet now? Because in terms of valuations also, I think it's been trading below its historical averages.
Yeah, that's right. The point is correct that it's quoting at a historically low valuation right now. And looking at the business prospect, I don't foresee that there will be anything material change will happen, positive or the negative, for this company over next 3-4 quarters. Nothing is there in the pipeline. But only business outlook with the new capacity expansion may see some kind of a 8% kind of a revenue growth rate for next financial year and the next 2 financial year. But probably we have seen this spike in the price probably because of this dividend yield, which is more than 5%. That might have catched the eyes for HNIs or the financial institutions. And 120 to 115 seems to be a very at the rock bottom price for next 2 quarters, where it will hold on. And probably that might have given some kind of a uptick, or the way we have seen in other PSU companies like NMDC and others. Whenever there is a dividend yield announcement by more than 5%, the stock always catches eyeballs for FIs.
Okay. So few other names. I think ICICI Bank's doing well today. It's up about 2% at 549. So that's not bad going. And another one from the broader market space, which in the last 4 trading sessions has steadily gone up, has been Relaxo Footwear, now approaching 800. I think the intraday high was somewhere closer to 803. From there it's come off, but the last 3 or 4 trading sessions, the stock has been moving steadily higher from levels of about 735 to 794 where it's trading at. So that's a 10% move in the last 7 days of trade. Ruchit, do you track Relaxo?
Yes, broadly we have seen that the stock has been moving in a high top, high bottom fashion since last 5 or 6 months itself. We had a breakout in the month of August 2019, post which every declines towards the 20 days exponential moving average has been bought into. The momentum readings are in overbought zone, so no, I won't recommend taking any fresh positions over here. But if any existing long positions are there, then trailing stop loss method is the best way to ride this trend. 760 is the support now, so existing longs can be still held on with stop below 760.
Fantastic performance, 84 or 94% in the last 6 months of trade. So it's really showed up, and this is pretty similar to what Bata has also been doing. But the full impact of premiumization still for Relaxo has not played out the way it has played out for Bata. So what Bata has capitalized on all this time has been something that probably Relaxo is behind the curve on, which the management has indicated that they are going to scale up and they are going to start looking at capitalization in the premium market, and premiumization is going to be the theme going forward. So that could open some new avenues for for relaxo footwear as well. So watch out for that one. That's at about 795. Anything else, Manav, that you're tracking over the last half an hour that seems interesting to you?
Yes, I've been looking at the chart of Adani Enterprises. In fact, this stock too has seen a very good rally in last 1 week, and yesterday the stock did witness a good breakout on its weekly charts, and post that there was a good follow-on move. This stock overall has been in a good structured uptrend, but recently has also witnessed some increase in volatility, and I sense this is due to the range expansion that the stock has witnessed after many months of consolidation. The trend for the stock is overall intact, and I sense this is one stock which could actually be a good compounder stock for years to come, looking at its long-term structure in place. So this is definitely a buy on dips approach. I sense this is one stock one can look to even buy at the current levels and dips towards 125 in case of declines. But on the medium term, long term, I think this is one stock that one can definitely look in for buying for a long-term opportunity.
Okay. Yogesh, any those quick closing comments from our technical experts? Manav, let's start off with you. What is it that you're going to be watching out for tomorrow's trade?
I think the Nifty index has closed at good levels. It has been closed above 12,200. So I sense tomorrow would be a day where important follow-on moves would be. We'll wait for some more confirmation. The only negative that I witnessed that the range in the Bank Nifty today and yesterday were very small range, so we need some confirmation coming from the Bank Nifty to have some broader participation. I think this is one thing that we need some confirmation of. There are some enough call writers who are currently standing at 31,700, 31,800 strikes, so that could act as an immediate pressure for the expiry tomorrow. So we need Bank Nifty to see a decisive close above 31,600 levels on the positional basis for some strong momentum rally to go forward. Looking at the broader perspective, I think we are still in a strong trend on the upside. So as long as 31,100 on the Bank Nifty and for the Nifty 12,000 levels hold, one should maintain a buy on dips approach.
Okay, Ruchit, what are your closing thoughts?
Yeah, as of now, the trend still continues to remain positive. One interesting observation in the options front that was seen today for tomorrow's expiry. 12,200 and 12,150 put options have attracted very good amount of open interest today. You can see that 12,200 open interest total now stands around 27.5 lakhs, whereas around 13.5 lakhs open interest fresh addition was seen in 12,150 put as well. On the other side, 12,200, 12,150, 12,100 call options all witnessed unwinding, and the highest OI is now placed around 12,300. So I think tomorrow's expiry we should see the index heading towards this higher end of the range of 12,270 to 12,300.
Okay, gentlemen, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us, Manav as well as Ruchit. And with that, it's a wrap here on Countdown from Neeraj, Naveen, myself and the entire team that put the show together. Thank you so much for watching.